This week's episode was brought to you by the Cryptic Chronicles podcast, the Soviet Union, and listeners just like you. It's with the generous support of listeners that we here at The Whole Rabbit are able to keep producing semi-sentient homunculi we've embedded into a holographic microcosmic ecosystem, where through the continued stimulation of the dense nerve fibers inside their adrenal glands, we can utilize their endocrine secretions to power the artificial intelligence maintaining the experiment to write our episodes for us in a language known only to the disembodied spirits who transcribe the content of these episodes using a Ouija board submerged in a translucent drum of haunted peanut oil and cerebrospinal fluid from a Sasquatch. If you'd like to help us keep the homunculi sedated by the dreams of personhood, or just hear the second half of this episode, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the second half of this episode, but all our episodes, which are accessible conveniently from within Spotify, but that's not all. I'll send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art, and the secret keys to our Discord server, where you can meet the other listeners of the show and ask hosts like myself confusing questions about ghosts. Special thanks to Tim Hacker of the Cryptic Chronicles podcast, who generously wrote and prepared the encyclopedic alien content for this episode. Make sure to check out more of his great stuff at crypticchronicles.com. Extra special thanks to those who contributed such generous donations to Heka Astra's GoFundMe and gave her and her pet Ziggy and Hide the needed support to secure shelter and survive a harsh, short-notice eviction just prior to the winter in the snowy wilds of Canada. So far, we've been able to raise $2,100, which was used to make the down payment on her RV, with just enough space inside to resume her leatherworking trade and begin supporting herself again as normal. If you'd like to help winterize her shelter and begin paying off the insane amount of debt incurred by the move, please check out the link in the description. On this week's episode, we dive back into our encyclopedic anthology of alien races, beginning with the two oldest and most ancient of all species, which on the one hand are feathered humanoids, and on the other, feline. We round out each section by discussing their corresponding stellar mythology from Greece, the religion of ancient Egypt, and the obscure angel-worshipping Yezidi people of Kurdistan. In the extended show, we break out our secret manual given to KGB agents about the alien races that visit Earth regularly, the important things to know about them, and how to interact when the occasion presents itself. Thank you, and enjoy the show. What do you call a loony spaceman?
What?
An astronaut.
Yeah.
Why didn't the sun go to college?
Why?
Because it already had 1,000,000 degrees. Yesterday, I was talking to some aliens from space. Turns out they eat radioactive materials. I then asked what its favorite meal was. You know what it told me?
What?
Fish and chips.
Dirt.
What did the alien say to the cat?
Slap. Take me out to your leader.
What did it say?
Not bad at all. Take me to your litter. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we do more than inform you about the handful of bovine placenta fluid slurping overlords trading technology with the classified above top secret branches of the U.S. military in exchange for diplomatic privilege of abducting unsuspecting members of the population to scrape their eggs and then vacuum out their precious seminal fluids. Nay, we go into depth about the ones who look like cat ladies, bird bros, and spaghetti people included in a notorious secret document prepared by none other than the KGB, because this week we're doing part 3 of our auditory encyclopedia of the alien races. So prepare that beautiful butthole of yours for a probing.
Your alien asshole ears.
Give in to your anger. I'm down.
I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by the macerator of macho malcontents, Mari-sama.
Howdy, everybody.
The infamous Imperial Immolator, Melek 5.
You may fire when ready.
And the Herald of Hermetic Heresy, Heka Astra.
Hello. You know how excited I get about alien episodes?
A lot. No, none.
Did you know that water's wet?
And this week, once again, we're joined by the tantalizingly terrific Tim Hacker of the Cryptic Chronicles podcast, crypticchronicles.com, who wrote and prepared the majority of this episode, because if he didn't, my brain was going to explode like a watermelon at a Gallagher performance.
Yeah, it's messy. No one wants to clean that up.
And also, we still had the eldest and arguably most interesting alien races left to discuss that we had to skip over during part 2 because the notes were so voluminous. Thank you and welcome back to the show, Mr. Hacker.
Mucho gusto.
Here.
El gusto es mío.
Now, the first alien species on our list today is exceptionally popular with the New Age community, and recently at that. I did a quick search about them and found countless videos, including some long format of just this particular alien race supposedly speaking their native language, which is then thought to activate your light body.
Oh, that's cool. Is that what's happening today? I didn't look at the agenda.
It's definitely not some dude named Caden just speaking gibberish into the microphone with an echo. It's definitely not that.
Is this like the Starseed version of the
Yes.
speaking in tongues in church?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Although in this case, it's speaking in beaks.
Should just put a whole bunch of parrot noises right here.
I can't take it anymore!
So, as you may have guessed, the first race on the order of business today are the Carians, not to be confused with the Karens.
The Carians, also known as Avians, originate in the star system of Alpha Draconis in the Orion constellation. The Carians are allegedly one of the two most ancient alien races in the universe, the other being the furry feline Lyrans that Mal descends from. Upon reaching sentience, the species evolved to have bipedal bodies that look like a cross between a bird and a human.
So, bird people.
I'm looking at the notes here and I'm seeing how carrions are spelled, and in audio format it might sound a bit like carrion birds, as in like crows or other birds that eat carrion being like decaying flesh, but it's
Yep.
not spelled that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Some crazy starseed dude on mushrooms probably thought this up.
So does it have anything to do with decaying flesh?
No.
No? Okay, so it's a different kind of carrion. Copy that.
I immediately thought that as well when I saw the name. I was like, oh, they're like doing Star Wars stuff. They're like, oh, I'm Darth Evil Man, you know?
I'm sure they got a few vulture boys on the team and stick their wet, bald head inside your organ guts and squish it around until they find the perfect morsel to feed their cause. Get it?
Carrions have a lot more variety of shapes, sizes, and colors that many other races in the universe lack. They possess colored plumage and bold and vibrant color schemes, with every avian completely unique in their own design. The size of these aliens can be anywhere from up to 12 feet tall to only a handful of inches in height.
Well, when they come out of the egg, they gotta be relatively tiny.
Yeah, but even as they're adults, like you can see some avians just sitting on reptilians' shoulders like a pirate.
What?
Yeah, some full-grown avians are that small, according to the lore. The avians advanced quickly into becoming a grand interstellar civilization. They are known for their sharp analytical abilities and organizational skills. A predominant character trait of Carians is the obsession with maintaining a good appearance and social image at all times. They're vain, paying a lot of attention to their appearance and ornamentation. Carians gear their society around adherence to codes of conduct, structure, and discipline. Their sharp analytical minds make them extremely talented generals, strategists, organizers, and bureaucrats.
See, people think the government created birds, but really, well, the birds created the government.
Just what comes to mind for me is Yoda, like, judge me by my size, do you? Instead of my plumage.
Yummy crackers you have, yes. The Carians' technology advanced quickly, allowing them to be uncontested rulers of their little pocket of the universe. Eventually, they began genetic experimentation. They mixed their own DNA with the reptiles found on the warmer parts of their planet. This experiment would lead to one of the first genetically altered new races in the cosmos to come into being, the dreaded reptilians.
Dun dun dun!
The Avians wanted this child species to be powerful, self-perpetuating, and dominating. They taught the reptilians that everything in the universe was theirs for the taking and their birthright to rule. However, the Carians seeded countless worlds and engineered many other sentient species of diverse natures other than the reptilians and their many subspecies. They created many subspecies of their own race as well, such as the blue Avians, similar to the Carians in demeanor and attributes, but are more benevolent in nature, whereas the Carians are pretty universally neutral. The blue Avians have nothing to do with galactic politics focused on dominating others. Carians, on the other hand, believe in order at any cost, and the ends justify the means.
You know, they sound a little bit like the Skeksis from Dark Crystal.
The Skeksis aren't neutral, though. The Skeksis are kind of like the dark half of the Urskeks, and the Mystics or Uru are like the light side, and they come together to make the Urskeks, which are the neutral light beings. The Skeksis are like the evil ones. Is that what you meant?
Well, I was more making a joke, but
Oh, sorry.
And being true neutral can be seen as evil to anybody who's on either extreme.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Just a matter of perspective. Like, they don't necessarily want the reptilians to go out and like cause suffering and pain and whatnot. They just don't mind it as long as the outcome is order.
It's just Luke mentioned Dark Crystal and I went full nerd. I'm sorry.
But this talk kind of reminds me of what the boss said in Metal Gear Solid when she first went to space. She saw a world without borders. The events of the whole series take place under this philosophy of what does that even mean? Is it a world without borders in a good way, or is it just one government?
Tyranny.
Pick your poison, yeah.
Carians were allegedly the first sentient species born into the universe and believe it is their birthright and their destiny to rule all of existence, even if indirectly. However, this doesn't mean that they're conquering dominators. In fact, they are very logical and analytical, with little cause to do things except for objectively beneficial outcomes. They're more chess players than warriors. This makes an interesting question on why the Carians would create reptilians to be a race of beings who basically hold conquest and dominance as a religion. Carians are not malevolent or evil, but reptilians could definitely fit those categories. Maybe through their cold-blooded logic, they assumed that they could bring order to the universe through the reptilians.
It's like their soldier breed.
Yes, a means to an end. The reptilians would eventually outnumber their creators, and the Carians would take a back seat in their mutual civilizations. However, the Carians are extremely revered by the reptilians and often lead them, as well as being the main scientific minds behind the Draconi. They shared all their knowledge and technology with their children, and also assisted in genetic manipulation to create subraces of reptilians from conquered species. They are even at the forefront of reptilian invasions throughout their endless galactic wars, though much less in number by an extreme amount when compared to their reptilian creations. The Carians still hold a high place of honor in the Draconis Empire, which is allegedly one of the most powerful factions in the universe, and these bird-like aliens explored, colonized, and charted the cosmos as a whole with faster-than-light travel long before any other race in existence.
Sounds like they're mixing in some Thoth mythology here.
yeah, Thoth is a big old bird.
He's also thought to or considered to be primordial, as in existing before existence, and was utilized in the creation of existence.
Indeed.
Charting the cosmos, that's Thoth work.
Yeah, he is the record keeper, so he's writing it all down, making a list of who's naughty and who's nice.
Make sure who gets probed twice.
Now, over the years, my enjoyment of material like this stems not from outright belief, but a suspicion that these ideas arise from the same place that informs the ancient myths like Thoth. If nothing else, they encourage us to wade deeper into the realm of our collective unconscious and beckons us to walk older, even forgotten roads into the wilderness of said mysteries. In the case of the Carians, it brings to mind one of my favorite religious backstories, one that is quickly fading from the earth, as the culture which subscribes to it has nearly been wiped off the earth's surface in the last few decades. To elaborate, you don't hear much talk about the overarching race of Carians online. Most of what you see concerning aliens of the bird variety are the blue Avians, and as we've discussed thus far, they're almost always described as benevolent. This in mind, I think it's worth comparing them to Tawusi Melek, the patron deity of the religion of the Yazidi people.
This is some cool stuff.
Yes, the Yazidi culture has been a feature of occult literature since about the turn of the last century, and to be fair, they're usually misrepresented. Purportedly, one of their holy texts, the Black Book, is like out there on the internet now for everyone to find, but it's good to know that while it does seem to reflect the authentic beliefs and mythologies of the Yazidi people at the time, it was compiled by white people who were exploring the culture, and they sort of like made a forgery. Like, this is not really their book, but it's presented as their book. So it's good to keep that in mind when researching. It's very hard to get the straight juice when it comes to this culture because they keep to themselves, and they keep to themselves because they've basically almost been genocided into non-existence.
It's also largely an oral tradition. They don't actually have any book that is like their book, as far as I understand.
They pass on their knowledge in a form of poetry or songs called kuls, which is cool. So the Yazidi are indigenous to Kurdistan and have been struggling to survive since the early Arab conquests of the 7th and 8th centuries, as they are commonly declared heretics by Muslim clerics. The primary reason for this has mostly to do with their patron deity, Tawusi Melek, which means King Peacock, and shares a number of interesting mimetic overlaps with entities or ideas that Abrahamic faiths consider satanic. Problem is exacerbated because although Yazidism shares motifs from Abrahamic religion, many of its ideas and practices are evolved from the profoundly older myths of Mesopotamia and Zoroastrianism, which add to the perception of their apostasy and the confusion about what they actually believe. So if you listen closely, you'll probably be able to pick out what some of those things are. Tawusi Melek is one of 7 archangels created by God who is largely uninvolved with the world or the affairs of men. Tawusi Melek is not just the first created of these archangels, he's also the most beautiful. Prior to the creation of the other 6 archangels, God specifically forbade Tawusi Melek from bowing to any other beings save for himself, the one true God. Afterwards, when God created the remaining angels, he ordered them to deliver unto him dust, from which he would fashion mankind, leaving the honor to Tawusi Melek to blow into their nostrils and give them a living soul. Once this was completed, God instructed all of the angels to bow before Adam. All of the angels then proceeded to bow, save for Tawusi Melek, who refused. When made to call for his disobedience, Tawusi Melek replied, "How can I submit to another being? I am from your illumination, while Adam is made of dust." Having obeyed the original commandment to bow to none but him, God praised Peacock King and entrusted him with the leadership of all the other angels, and even entrusted into him the earth itself. So he's Lord of this world, as Black Sabbath would say. Described as being of eternal light, when Tawusi Melek descended to Earth, the colors of the rainbow coalesced into the vibrant, multicolored plumage of a mighty peacock and flew about the world, blessing all with the splendor of the rising sun, to which his feathers are said to symbolize.
It's like Ho-Oh from Pokemon.
I wanna be the very best.
He's the son of the morning, you could say. God then commanded that Gabriel escort the newly created Adam to paradise, where he was encouraged to partake of the fruit of every tree, but forbid him to ever eat grains, specifically wheat. Here, Adam dwelled in paradise peacefully for about 100 years until Tawusi Melek began to question God how Adam would ever multiply and have descendants if he were forbidden from eating grain, to which God answered,
"I have put the whole matter into thy hands."
Thereupon, Tawusi Melek visited Adam and said, "Have you eaten of the grain?" To which Adam replied, "Nah, dude, God forbade me." In response, the great peacock said, "Eat of the grain, and all shall go better with thee." Once eaten the grain, Adam's belly became full, and Tawusi Melek drove him from the garden into the world before he ascended back into heaven on a flash of rainbow lightning. Immediately following being cast from paradise, Adam's belly remained inflated from the grain, causing him great discomfort, which is how I feel when I eat wheat. To relieve his suffering, God sent a bird to peck at his butt to form an anus, which served as a much-needed outlet, and Adam was greatly relieved. What's so funny about that? This isn't funny. As you may have noticed, there are an astounding number of overlaps between the Yazidi Peacock King and the various qualities and stories attributed to Satan of the Abrahamic religions. In terms of Christianity, well, the concept of being God's favorite, first among the other angels, and one of light specifically seems to smack most obviously of Lucifer. In terms of Judaism, Tawusi Melek overlaps well with the serpent of the garden, who offers Adam the forbidden food stuff, which both empowers him and results in him being cast out. And then, lastly, in terms of Islam, the most important of the Abrahamic religions for the Yazidi, as their ancestral lands are totally surrounded by Muslim territories, Tawusi Melek most strongly resembles Iblis, the Islamic Satan, who was cast from heaven for refusing to prostrate himself before Adam. So he's kind of like on all counts. There's like, oh, well, he's obviously Satan. And then Aleister Crowley comes along, he's like, hey, if you go draw a circle around a Yazidi kid, they won't be able to escape because they're all Satanists. They're all Satan worshippers. You know, somebody tried it and was like, that's not true. Then it goes a bit further because in numerous places, Tawusi Melek is referred to as Zazil and Zazil or even Azazel, depending on what source or document you're looking at. And then, of course, to make this worse, the Prophet Muhammad declared that Azazel was the original name of Iblis before he fell from grace. So that's like his angel name. Kind of like how Christians think of Satan as being named Lucifer while he was in heaven, etc. And then if we want to get more esoteric, in the book of Enoch, Azazel is one of the Grigori or fallen angels, referred to as the Watchers, who were loyal to Shemyaza in his rebellion against God, having decided to do the nasty with mortal women, which then create the Nephilim.
I'm so glad you pointed this out, because I was just about to say it seems like there's a lot of overlap with Azazel.
Well, there absolutely is. Of course, in the book of Enoch, Azazel's not the leader, it's Shemyaza. But in the book of Enoch, Azazel was the one responsible for offering humanity metallurgy, which allowed them to create weapons and allowed them to make advances in agriculture. This is reminiscent of giving Adam grain. And then he gave women the use of makeup and jewelry.
What an evil dude. Bible time.
Apocrypha time.
So in the book of Enoch 10:8, he is mentioned thus: the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. I do think makeup is a sin, though.
So if you are in a part of the world that's populated by very excitable Abrahamic zealots, it's not in your best interest to say you worship Azazel in any form or fashion, because as you can tell, that's like the same thing as worshiping Satan.
I think it's a kind of an interesting thing to loop it back to the Avians, because if they're this ancient race that's said to have seeded all these other races, then it's a lot like the story of the fall of the angels in the book of Enoch, where they have unsanctioned relations to create the new race of Nephilim.
But they aren't really supposed to be creating. That's God's job. So they're kind of, they're kind of violating the rules of creation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And that's why it spawns monsters and giants and stuff, because, they're not supposed to exist.
Even the correlation between Melek and these avian ET races, these Carrion ETs created Draconians, and they're evil, right? And in the myth, these angels corrupt man and create a monster that's sinful on Earth. So I guess in this ET narrative, it's like an octave or a scale up from our earthly matters. It's like on a cosmic level, these bird aliens did the same thing across the whole galaxy or universe.
Oh, yeah.
Not just Earth.
Not just one planet, but like star systems are screwed up because of the same myth.
So if you were on the fence or just completely laughing at the idea of Carrions and blue avians, it seems that whoever came up with this or the multiple people that are into it may have pulled this from the collective unconscious, and there's definitely some overlaps going on here with Yezidi mythology. It also doesn't hurt that Yezidi mythology is just full of all sorts of divine bird type beings. If you look at Tawusi Melek's emblem, it often contains the Dingir rune, which originates in Sumeria as a symbol indicative of either Anu or other skybound deities who are renowned for their splendor and power over humanity. I think they wanted humans to make bread as well, so there's that weird thing about grain and bread yet again. Perhaps Tawusi Melek is in fact one of these proud Carrion or blue avian creator beings of extraterrestrial origin. Who knows?
When Luke was doing research for the show and he sent me this picture of this room, I recognized it immediately as the Dinger rune, which from what I understand is always related to the word for God and can be used in conjunction with other names. And it's a lot like the Egyptian word neter, where it has an implication of divinity to it. And so when you see that, it implies the source of that divinity.
Yeah, the Neturu.
Yeah. And the Dinger rune is used in a very similar way to imply that it's God. You're talking about a divinity, and often it's used to imply the source of that. And a lot of times I think it does tie into creation because you're going to the source. It's implying the source of it.
So, but the rune can be applied to a being that is divine, but it's drawing the divinity out from God, the source God itself. Correct?
Yeah, from what I understand, it can also be used for living things as well. And so I think sometimes it gets a bit of a Luciferian association in modern times, maybe like an apotheosis kind of association.
Interesting.
Well, if you really want to go even further with the Lucifer thing, the Dinger rune oftentimes corresponds to the idea of the sky or something that's bright in the sky. And so that would be like a similar root to the word Diana,
Moon, sun, star,
Jupiter,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and even if you want to take it further with the Luciferian connection, you could relate it to the Promethean giving of the light, the fire from the gods.
Wow.
And then this brings us to, in my opinion, probably the most popular alien you're going to see spoken of online. I think because it gives some people boners.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen those threads. It's crazy, man.
It's just furry threads.
Kind of, but you don't have to be a furry to worship hot Lyran mommies.
No,
Oh,
you don't.
man.
You really don't. I think you're going to get people that aren't into most furry stuff might be into the... Well,
Space
I'm in.
kitten.
Sign me up.
so tell us a little bit about these cat people.
Starseed lore is filled with captivating narratives of beings from distant star systems believed to impact Earth's spiritual evolution. Among these stories, the Lyran felines are a fascinating and enigmatic presence. The Lyran felines are considered a unique lineage of starseeds originating from the Lyra constellation, and their narrative weaves a tapestry of exploration, wisdom, and interconnectedness that resonates with seekers of spiritual understanding. There are many versions of galactic history in starseed lore, so this look into the feline Lyrans is in no way absolute, and you will find alternative views if you delve deeper into this fascinating worldview found in New Age communities. This in no way should devalue any other editions of starseed lore, because in the end, there is no objective reality, and no one knows anything. With our puny human brains, comprehension can only come through experience subjectively, and who's to say the quote-unquote contactees or starseeds behind this lore are not just a form of interpretation of the ineffable. Could it be their own unique perspective of the incomprehensible expressed through our physical brains and laws and 3D reality? Kind of like Ezekiel and his angels. Likewise, there is no reason to believe anything in starseed lore, or not to believe anything in starseed lore. It is the sign of an intelligent mind to be able to contemplate ideas without accepting them or denying them. And let's look into some of the origins and mythology behind Lyra. The Lyra constellation in the northern celestial hemisphere has been a source of wonder and inspiration for various cultures throughout history. In starseed lore, Lyra is often associated with a race of feline-like beings believed to have contributed to Earth's cosmic heritage. The Lyran felines are basically furries. They're depicted as majestic and advanced entities connected deeply to the cosmos.
They also love to push random objects off tables.
Cats can definitely be dicks, and the Lyran felines are no different.
They probably stick their butt way up in the air and waggle it at you.
Yeah, like they're crawling on your chest for pets, and then they just turn around and sit down with their butthole right in your nose. Lyrans are our original ancestors from the galactic community. All humans in the universe originated from Lyra. The human form evolved over millions of years on many worlds, and also genetically manipulated branches. This has led to humanity transforming over time to be incredibly diverse in bodily form and levels of consciousness. However, all humans came from the feline Lyrans, aka cat people.
Cat mommy. Cat daddy.
Cat daddy, call me SpongeBob.
So when I'm saying humans in this category, I'm not like literally saying Homo sapiens sapiens like you and me. Humans are an archetype that many different alien races all branch off from or are connected to. Think of our humanoid form. That's basically just a cosmic mold that the universe likes to shove consciousness into.
I'm not mold.
I'm a bit lost.
What I'm saying is like when I'm talking about the human form and humans, all humans are Lyran, blah, 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 blah. I'm not meaning us. We're just a branch of humans. And our form is actually common in the universe, according to this lore.
And it was the Lyrans who made this form the default standard issue form through their advanced genetifying.
Yes.
So basically, anthropod.
Yeah, that would be a more scientific way to say it. Yeah.
If you don't know what an anthropod is, it's like two-legged, bipedal walking, spine, two-armed individuals, like a human.
Yeah. So when I say alien, I don't mean Homo sapiens sapiens, aka us. I don't want to confuse people if they take stuff too literally. They could be like, what?
But that's where I'm at.
There's also many different versions concerning the origin of the feline Lyrans. We'll go with my favorite one that I've come across over my years of research. The feline Lyrans were invited to this universe when it was new and actually came from a completely different universe. Some say they were invited as quote-unquote co-creators for the new quote-unquote game. Make of that what you will. And essentially the universe that they came from, that game ended. And they did so well that they were invited over to this one. Their home planet was named Avian, and over millions of years, their cat-like form diminished, and they became more and more humanoid in appearance, bipedal. They were the first sentient species to ripen in the cosmic soup, beside their counterpart, the Avians, specifically, which I just mentioned, the avian group called the Carians. Having completed their own universal cycle, they were set up to assist in the great game of this newly born universe.
So when you find out the mystery of the Sphinx is just that bird and cat people were the original elder aliens, it all falls into place. Also sounds like the Lyrans are on New Game Plus, which is...
They are.
Yes. This is something that you hear the quote, Left Hand Path, loves to riff about, where it's like, once you become god of this universe, you go and get to create another universe. So if you're really stuck on that as an idea, that's who these folks are. They completed the game, now they're doing it again, but with all their perks. And they're going to make this game even better.
It's scarier, and it's like Gantz, where they probably died, and when the new game started, we had enough points to spawn them back into the game and suffer with us, so we can accomplish our goal easier. Maybe
Or it's like New
that.
Game Plus Bloodborne, where it's still really hard.
Suffer harder.
Pain is the birth of wisdom. So their technology increased to the point that they could travel out into the void, and they even developed machinery that could bend space and time, allowing them to travel faster than light. However, despite all their technological prowess, the feline Lyrans were expert geneticists. They began planting life all over the cosmos in a multitude of forms, as well as removing specific amounts of crust from planets to activate as well as removing specific amount of crust from planets to activate plate tectonics, aka bringing the planet to life, and using the leftover crust to create moons that would incubate life. Our planet.
Oh, so they're the ones who created the moon.
Dun, dun, dun.
So when we were talking about in the moon episode how no other planets in the solar system have plate tectonics quite like ours, it's because of cat people.
Yes.
They knocked us off the table. And
They
we
saw
broke.
the moon on the table and they were like, F that. And they knocked the moon off so that it's orbiting us now.
Wait a minute. So then if Thoth is the one, quote unquote, who built the pyramids, and that now you're giving the cat people credit when it was the Carians. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the starseed lore behind it because that would be ridiculous back when we were talking about who the made the moon. But yeah, yeah.
It's still a little funny.
It's starseed lore. Yeah, it's starseed lore. Come on. It's like watching the WWE. And it was at their height that they turned their genetic expertise to a bipedal mammal that was close in evolutionary progress to themselves and began to splice their own DNA into it, activating higher consciousness and enabling it to become a vessel for universal consciousness to manifest as an avatar and a soul. This experimentation would eventually result in the first quote-unquote human. This also led to several subgroups branching into many unique human forms. The feline Lyrans and their offspring would have their place to play in the dance between light and dark throughout this universal cycle in this new game.
The game is called Change the Litter Box, Give Me Fresh Water, and Make Sure I Don't See the Bottom of My Food Bowl. Because we all know that we're the pets. This whole planet just exists for us to take care of cats.
I want out. Now I want in. I want out. I want in. I want out. I want in.
I saw a funny meme. It was a cat like outside of a castle's drawbridge, and the guard's like, "Open the gate." They open the gate, let the bridge down. Cat crosses. They close the big ass gate. The cat's scratching at it when it's closed.
And now let's get into the fall of the Golden Age and the destruction of Lyra.
Oh no!
Eventually, another sentient species would come into contact with the feline Lyrans and the many worlds of their human offspring. And depending on the version of galactic history of starseed lore that we're talking about here, the origin of these suckers will differ. Sometimes they were a genetically modified race manufactured by the Avians, the other elder alien species next to the feline Lyrans, aka just basically what we just talked about with the Carians making the reptilians. The other idea of these dicks is that they actually came over from another universe whose cycle was ended similar to the feline Lyrans, though in a completely different way. In essence, we inherited another universe's headache. Every universe needs the dance between light and darkness to have balance, and the Draconians exert themselves as the yin to the feline Lyrans' yang. As the legend holds, these reptoids even began journeying outside their star system before the cat people, so they had a head start on the whole, intergalactic civilization thing.
The reptilian colonial conquest begins.
Indeed, they were way more advanced than the Lyrans. Well, at least in warfare.
That makes a lot of sense if you consider that cats' reflexes are faster than reptiles.
Oh yes, a cat can swipe away a striking snake.
Yep. So it's like their initiative technology was better even in this lore. Cats go first.
No, they had completely different focuses. I think you might be misunderstanding what I just said. The Draconians had the technology to leave their planet and go conquer shit first.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the Lyrans were more focused on agriculture and culture. Like they were introverts looking in, whereas the Draconians and the Avians were looking out.
Never mind, because then what I said doesn't make sense.
You have to have agriculture because that's how you get the mice that you like to chase.
Exactly. Well, they were more focused on infrastructure, whereas the reptilians were more focused on let's just control other people's infrastructure. You get it? Like they're not really creators or maintainers, they're dominators.
You know, it makes sense now why it's related to the royal family all the time. Like when people are like, oh, the queen was a reptilian.
Yeah, they're
Kinda makes
rulers.
sense.
Who do you think those people were?
They're like the Greyjoys from Game of Thrones. We do not sow. They just take what they want or what they need. And when the Draconians encountered the Lyran worlds, they were blown away by the resources and prosperity. The majority of the planets in their empire were much less valuable, much less productive. So when they saw the human realm, they wanted to dominate and control it. Thus, the Reptilian Wars began, destroying the human homeworlds and spreading them to the stars. The feline Lyrans suffered greatly while defending their children, leaving their once powerful domain a shadow of its former glory. The feline Lyrans got wrecked, basically. You know, Mal, like 40K with the Eldar, think of that. Basically, after this initial war, the feline Lyrans' power was never the same again. They were always, after this, even till now, according to the lore, a shadow of their former selves in power level.
The reptilians totally knocked their sandcastle down.
Well, what happened was they were like,
Hey, everybody, get the hell out of here. We're going to just take the brunt of the attack.
Aw,
and
sweet
sacrificed
kitties.
themselves. Yeah, basically. They weren't exterminated, but yeah, they got wrecked.
Well, they got 9 lives, so it doesn't matter. They can be Jesus.
Yo!
Exactly. And in the end, the feline Lyrans too became refugees and had to try to find a new homeworld, which they eventually did. They helped establish an alliance later down the line that would become an equal to the Draconian Empire. The cat people embraced their new role as guides to the other races and are revered for their immense wisdom. And if you're a starseed, like you're into that kind of stuff, they're also the most psychic out of all the starseeds.
Just don't rub their bellies.
You get the slashy slash from the claws.
It's a trap.
Also, like, read rumors a while ago that people like to believe that they were in charge of, is it Lemuria or Atlantis or something? Like those ancient
We're
cities.
talking like millions of years later. They could have an influence on it, yeah, but you have to keep in mind too.
So this
that,
is way before that.
Yeah, this is like the beginning. This is like the war in heaven for 40K, the first Great War.
Okay.
And basically after that initial outbreak of the war, they mostly were just like, they lost their place of power. And then after that, they were just like advisors.
They're
to the
like
rest. Yeah.
starting small colonies and allowing people to come in and, you know, collaborate and stuff.
Well, yeah, they just advise the other human races and stuff. They're not the
I-
ones at the tip of a fleet being like, bring it on.
Okay.
So, what do these cat people look like?
Lyran felines are often described as beings blending humanoid and feline features, embodying the feline world's grace, agility, and mystique. However, their appearances greatly vary, so there is no way to easily put them in a box.
Oh, that's a funny one.
They just go in the box themselves.
Schrodinger's box. Between the two, they are far more human-looking than cat-looking. However, the cats on Earth are their genetic creations from millions of years ago when they were seeding life in the cosmos. So technically, the cats we love as pets are related to these feline Lyrans.
See, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is starting to sound like that play Cats. Probably looks like the actors in that awful movie.
Whoa.
Aliens invented cats.
That's why George Bush loves that play so much.
Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
Their physical appearance includes feline-like eyes, pointy ears, and lithe, elegant stature. These characteristics are believed to reflect not only their cosmic lineage, but also their unique spiritual attributes as well. There's also often an aura of wisdom and calm that emanates from them, mirrored in their deep, fathomless eyes.
Do they have human or cat buttholes?
Thought
I'll
they're
ask
pretty
one.
similar.
Next time I see it, I'll ask. These Lyrans may appear entirely different for contactees depending on circumstances. They're actually unlikely to show their proper form, which can be unnerving, and appear instead in a way that will inspire calm and ease. They will specifically interact with the contactee in this manner through dreams or visions. But if they know the individual can handle their true form, then they are happy to appear authentic and be like, yo, I'm a furry, what's up?
It's like goetic demons, except they automatically show up in a comely form.
They're very cute and fluffy and adorable.
It's weird you brought up Goetia because if a cat person walked into this room right now, I would be so fucking afraid that it was Flauros or Horus or
Yeah.
whatever his name is from the Goetia.
Yeah.
I'd be scared. Like, legit.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit like these cat folks are the reason we're quote-unquote made in the image of God, as we discussed with the anthropods and so on and so forth.
According to starseed lore, the Lyran felines are said to have played a significant role in the evolution of Earth and its inhabitants. In the lore, there is something called the Earth Experiment, which was to play out all paradigms and polarities of the macrocosm on a microcosmic scale. The cat people were one of the factions that assisted in genetically coding Earth humans. But they have played a much more significant role than that because, in a way, they've always been here assisting humanity. The Draco Wars lasted millions of years without any solid outcome for any faction. This somewhat has created a situation analogous to Earth's Cold War, just on an intergalactic scale. I think we talked about this before in a prior episode as well.
Yeah, like if they're fighting in these big, long, huge Orion wars, that's why we're constantly fighting. It makes sense.
It's we're a mirror of as above, so below. Basically, what's going on the macrocosm is being mirrored down here on Earth as the microcosm.
I kind of wish they didn't do that. I kind of wish that things were a little nicer here than they are out there. But I'm a dreamer, though.
Well, think, for example, Israel and Palestine, what's going on right now. There's something just like that going on a macrocosmic scale out in the universe right now.
Totally.
Let's say that's not true. It's still inspiring because it means that if we can make peace here on Earth, then the whole rest of the universe will also be at peace.
Yeah, it'll translate upwards.
It's part of the Earth game, which everybody agreed upon. That's why Earth is so special. It's not because of anything concerning us. It's literally because we're a reflection of the entire universe.
We're the tiny enchilada to the big enchilada.
And everything going on out there is mirrored here. When Earth humans committed some spicy deeds and were knocked down to be trapped in 3D reality with our planet essentially in quarantine, these dudes were there. And they're still looking out for humans today, even sending starseeds of their soul group to help us, though the feline Lyrans are pretty low in number concerning starseeds.
Those are the people who really like ketamine.
You mean ketamine?
Well. Now, you mentioned that humans got knocked into 3D through some quote-unquote spicy deeds. Was that perchance eating the wheat? Because according to our last section, we had to have a bird pluck at our anus to get the poo-poo out.
Yes. So basically, the spicy deeds concerns specifically Atlantis and how many humans decided to go do a bunch of reptilian stuff, which knocked our consciousness down a level.
We were distracted. The cats were pushing their butts in our faces, and we didn't see what was going on, and we programmed the crystal matrix wrong.
Some
and
bird
that's what happened.
came and made me an asshole. You know, I didn't have time to make the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, there's always going to be a subset of the human population that is attracted to power by any means necessary. But that's one of the reasons why in the past lore, you see these humans who are capable of amazing acts, and they seem to be like superhuman or superheroes. It's because we were at a higher level of consciousness. We existed in 4D. Anyway, the feline Lyrans have interacted with humanity throughout all history. Accounts of encounters, ancient texts, and channeled messages depict the Lyran felines as benevolent beings who have shared their knowledge to assist humanity's spiritual evolution. Some believe that their presence continues to influence select individuals, guiding them onwards towards paths of self-discovery and enlightenment. Feline Lyrans are often regarded as spiritual guides, offering insights into ancient wisdom, esoteric knowledge, and higher states of consciousness. Their presence is thought to have influenced development of various civilizations, leaving behind traces of their teachings in myths, symbols, and cultural traditions. They played a prominent role in Egypt, for example, specifically.
I knew it!
Oh, I have to wait to comment on this.
Lyran felines are often considered guardians of wisdom, fostering unity and cooperation among different species and civilizations. Their deep understanding of energetic and spiritual principles is said to have led to advancements in healing modalities, energy manipulation, and interstellar communication. Their teachings are believed to have instilled a sense of interconnectedness that transcends physical boundaries. Though a shadow of their former self and power level on a galactic scale, they are still revered by all descendants of Lyra and their many hybrids all across the cosmos. They have suffered greatly to protect and shepherd their children, and will do so again without hesitation, even for us dirtbags here on Earth.
Now, I was wondering what place Lyra had in ancient mythology. And I think it's worth mentioning that Lyra is said to be named after the lyre, an archaic form of the acoustic guitar, the one in question belonging to the legendary poet-musician Orpheus, who famously married the mountain nymph Eurydice, who died fleeing the unwanted advances of Aristaeus the guy who invented beekeeping, of all things. Now, distraught and unwilling to let Eurydice go, Orpheus enters the underworld and plays his lyre for Hades, who is so enchanted, he declares that Eurydice may leave with Orpheus so long as he never looks back, which he unfortunately does, stranding Eurydice forever. Naturally, this results in Orpheus moping about the rest of his miserable life, dying in a hail of spear points thrown by the women he had turned down.
There's a really cool movie made in 1950 by Jean Cocteau called Orpheus. He's like a modern French poet at the time. It's the same story, but it's really good. I feel like there's a lot of connections to The Matrix and Twin Peaks when you watch it.
Now, what about ancient Egypt? What is going on with the cat people there? Are these the same cat people?
Okay, as you guys probably know, I'm not really big on the alien stuff or the starseed stuff, but I can't help but notice that there's a lot of overlap with certain things from ancient Egypt. And so I kind of just also want to fall back on what Luke had mentioned at the beginning of the episode, saying that there's a lot of overlap and maybe that this is some kind of download that they got that's ancient wisdom and it's just being explained in kind of a more modern starseed woo kind of way. I don't know, but I want to point out the Egyptian connections without, telling people that I subscribe to starseed stuff. So I thought it was interesting that the Lyrans obviously are from the Lyra constellation. And that obviously has to do with music since it's a harp class of instrument. And if you look at ancient Egyptian cat goddesses, of course, the first one that's going to stand out is Bast or Bastet. And she was deeply associated with music and dance.
That's awesome. And there is a lot of overlap. Yeah.
What's also really cool about Bastet is that she was not always depicted as a domestic feline. She was originally a lion warrior goddess. If you look at Bubastis, which is her cult center, the Egyptian name of Bubastis was Purbastet, which just basically means house of Bast.
So like purr, like purr.
Oh, man.
So in Bubastis, Bastet was originally a warrior goddess and she was a lion warrior goddess, which is very similar to Sekhmet. You could even consider her the region's version of Sekhmet. But Bastet, she's essentially the feminine counterpart to Bes. I don't know if you guys remember Bes, the dwarf god that we had spoken about way back in the Fool episode. But Bes was also originally depicted as a lion warrior god, and over time was anthropomorphized into more of a dwarf god as opposed to a lion dwarf god. So Bes, he's related with creation as well. He's deeply associated with fertility, the instigation of life, initiation itself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's why it was brought up in the Fool episode as well. In fact, Bes was actually originally a Nubian god that was adopted by Egypt, and in the Nubian language, Bes means cat. So you can think of the Bas in Bastat's name is the same Bes as in Bes's name, and Bes et, the et is a feminine addition onto Egyptian names, so it gives it a feminine determinative. So essentially, Bastet or Bast is also the same as Bes et, so it's a feminine Bes. So I thought that was one really interesting connection. And then the other one that I thought was really interesting was if you look at Bes assists Horus in the marshes when he's going through his, coming of age trials. And the marshes is a very feminine thing, but you also see in a lot of the old stela that depict Bes with Horus, and Horus is standing on a crocodile, which is like the conquering of a reptilian. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. And then even back to the association with Flauros, the demon, who is also Horus, the name Herakati is Horus of the two horizons, and the Ake refers to the Aker lions of the horizon, which are the sphinxes. So even then you still have this cat connection of the birth of life on the horizon and the death of life. So I just thought that was really, really neat that there's all this overlap between them.
Horse is also a bird.
Yeah, Horus is also a bird. It's funny because this whole thing with Horus and Thoth and the Aker lions and even Sobek, the crocodile god, like all of this stuff seems to overlap with these avian and reptilian and feline lores. So it kind of makes me feel like maybe somewhere along the line, some people who put all this starseed lore together got some download and just kind of re-upped to modern lingo.
The episode we covered about draconian ETs was missing a Sobek section.
Oh, shit.
I'm so sorry. I would have done that if I had more time.
Totally.
So smash or pass on the bird and cat aliens?
Cat alien, smash. Bird alien, in the middle. It depends on the plumage.
I say cat alien as smash, just without question. Bird alien, pass.
I'm with Cryptic on this one. I'm not touching a cloaca, and I'm gonna assume the Lyrans have mostly human parts. It's basically like they have a butt plug with a cattail on it, and that's about what's going on in my mind.
I'm going to say pass on all of them because I have loot.
Aw.
What's just hypothetical?
Yeah,
I
but she
just-
she doesn't
I
like
don't work on-
aliens.
I also don't, I just don't work that way. I'm not
Sure.
programmed that way.
Well, you've got cat tattoos, so
I actually do have a tattoo of Bast. I originally got that tattoo with reverence to her music and dance associations.
See, you're a sexy cat, bitch.
Well, also my nickname was Cat.
I can't help but think that's why the cats push things off tables, because they're looking for the horizon. They're like, is that the horizon? Nope.
Makes a lot of sense now.
That's have you seen those flat earth memes with the cats? And it's like if the earth was flat, the cats would have pushed everything off it by now.
Yo. It's true, though.
So I thought another cool kind of aspect that was overlapping between Egyptian lore and this starseed lore is that if you look at pretty much all of the cat-related deities of ancient Egypt, a lot of them, if not all of them, have solar association. So this is Bes, this is Bastet, this is Sekhmet, the Aker lions, and even Ra in his form of a cat. They all have these solar relationships, which is kind of interesting because they all come from Ra. They're considered aspects of Ra or have come forth from Ra. And Ra is often depicted as a falcon. So you have these felines that have come from the birds. They're beget after the birds. And I thought that was kind of interesting because isn't that an overlap with this starseed lore?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if the birds come first, then that makes sense. And even in the case of Horus, you got the eye of Ra, which is his right eye, and then you have the eye of Thoth as his left eye, or Horus, as is more commonly referred to. But we know it's Thoth that gives it to him, and then Thoth is also a bird being.
Yeah, and a primordial one at that.
So it's cats and birds all over the place here.
You know, it's not turtles all the way down, it's cats and birds.
And then, of course, there's the Sphinx, which is a combination of a lion and a bird of some sort.
Well, the sphinxes are aspects of Horus, who is also depicted as a falcon.
Now, I can't speak for the ancient Egyptians, but one thing I've noticed is, of course, birds are from the sky, and you could think of that as the abstract world, where you look down on things, and it sort of flattens everything out, but you could see a vast distance. And then cats, they have 9 lives because they always know which way is down. Like, they flip over real good, and then they land, and they seem to be, like, sort of sensual. They're, like, attached to the ground, and they move almost like water, and they have a completely different relationship to the earth than the bird does, because the bird's like up there and swoops down, where like the lion can stalk and hunt and move about on the ground. He's almost like a master of the ground.
And that's really like the whole journey of Horus too, is this born on earth being that is to ascend through these forms of initiation. And it has so you've got the falcon basically, which has come from above, which is now descended into an earthly form. And through the cats initiating him is to rise again. It not only has all this overlap with the starseed lore and what the Lyrans want for this, what was it called, Earth experiment, but it also has all these overlaps with the Luciferian, the Promethean, the bringing the light down to the humans, to the earthly beings, for them to ascend back up.
And so to me, if there's any truth to this whole idea, to the Sphinx in general, this is like the human head attached to those 2 other animals. It's like the union or wedding of these 2 perspectives or energies is what makes us human. And so to me, it's like, if this isn't objectively true or literally true, there's enough symbolic truth in this starseed lore for it to be valid, because that's what the imagination does. And we merely endure our realities. We actually live through our fantasies. That's what gives us life. So to me, like I said, even if it's not objectively true, it's true enough to be valuable. And that's why I think there's a reason why these alien races are placed so highly in that whole mythology. On some level, it's real.
Yeah, totally. It's just an interpretation of the ineffable.
But if you'd like to hear more about these alien races of the starseed variety, And even more tantalizing, the alien races which are included in a fabled secret book distributed to members of the KGB about the alien races that have visited Earth that they know about.
And alien sex?
Yes, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you this extended episode, but all of our extended episodes going back like over 4 years or something. But not only that, I'll send you a 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker of our cover art and the secret keys to our Discord server, where you can talk to us about the strange aliens that you would smash or pass on.
Or Egypt.
Or Egypt. Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew pew.
Pew pew.
Pew pew pew.